28 miles an hour. Head forward. 5 under twin turbocharged.
Welcome you back to Accufab. We got some new products I want to show you. Get it up on so the fans can see it. One of the things that we're pretty excited about, and this is for the really high performance people, is these new clamps. These new clamps, which are all billet aluminum, are designed to replace those hoses and hose clamps for superchargers and turbochargers and whatever. And kind of the way that it works is we make two different throttle bodies, the 90 and the 105, that'll both accept these clamps, special one. It's kind of like it's set up here. And what you do is you get a ferrule like this, and you weld the ferrule to the end of your tubing. This one would be a 4.5 inch, let's see, 4.5 inch piece of tubing. Your output into the throttle body, and then on the other end of this throttle body is already the ferrule is already machined into it with a rubber O-ring, and you just put this clamp around it. It clamps it. You can see how the ridges are in it, and now you got a piece that nothing will blow off. You can run 100 psi and it will never blow off. So it's just a little bit more security for the race car guys, and we've got these both in the 90 and in the 105, which are kind of the most popular for the serious race car guys. The other thing you could do is if you ever run in any kind of tubing that you want to connect or interconnect, like maybe through a firewall for an intercooler or something like that, well, then you just get two ferrules like this. Weld those to the tube, and now you have a clamp. You can just plop this thing out, pull the thing off. It's real easy between, to service these things between rounds, things like that. Okay. That's a new product. Here's another new product. In fact, this one's never even actually been technically released, though we're looking at next week being able to do it. This is for the Mustang V6, the 3.8 V6. There's not a lot of performance equipment for that, but they do make superchargers, and these things really work. And we made a 65 and a 70 for the Mustang V6 guys. And, of course, it's all the same typical quality that we use. We've had these on the dyno, we've had them on the flow bench, like everything else. So that'll be coming out literally in a week, next week. And then this, I don't know if you've ever seen these. These are our 4-barrel throttle bodies. We make these in both 4150 and a 4500 Dominator series. And on the linkage, we make them both in the straight linkage like this, so they open up both at the same time. We also make it in a progressive linkage. This throttle body is the 4500 series. It's ultra low, so it'll fit under hoods. You can put the standard air cleaner or box over the top. Whatever fits on a Dominator will fit on this. It's ultra low. It's 2 inches top to bottom. And on a flow bench, naturally aspirated, it'll flow 2128 CFM, which is about the same size as two Dominators put together. So it's huge inside. It's just a huge hole, like 4 manhole covers all together. And we've also come out with a 90 millimeter throttle body for the Camaro LS1. We also have a smaller one, a 75, but we're particularly excited about the 90. Those are new products too. So we're always working on coming up with new stuff for the enthusiasts to make sure that they can get the best. You know, one of the things about Accufab products, throttle bodies, clamps, etc., is everything is made in-house. We don't have any parts that come from overseas. There's no offshore parts. Everything is designed here, manufactured here, assembled here, boxed up here, ready to go. And this is 100% American ingenuity at its finest. We have everything's done on CNC machines. Pretty much run 1.5 shifts here. We pretty much sell everything we make, and we don't advertise a lot. The word of mouth on our throttle bodies is it's just the best. So anytime anybody wants to come by, we'll be glad to give them a tour, show them John's car, show them the shop, show them the CNC equipment, show how you actually make a throttle body, how you start with a block of aluminum, machine everything out. And as I say, everything is done in-house. Can't get better than that. Now, Jimmy, I don't know if folks know John that well, but John's the brains behind Accufab, such as it is, and such as his brains are, of course. He is a race car driver. But, John, the reason that Jimmy is here is to take a couple of shots of your car. You realize, of course, that there's never been a car, a door car, in history that's gone as fast and as quick as this car with as small an engine. And what I'm hoping you'll be able to tell Jimmy is how my power plant got built, how I did the heads, the crank, the block, how I tuned up everything. And feel free to just fill him in on that.
Well, it's about 10 years of effort here. We've got a 4.6 twin turbo Lenco 4-speed car and 10 years of research and development.
10 years. Well, I haven't been here 10 years, so did some of this take place before I got here?
Yeah, it all took place before you got here.
John, why don't you open that door? In fact, I'll open this door, and you can kind of explain a little bit about driveline system.
Basically what you see in there is a air-shifted 4-speed Lenco underneath the tin, and that's one of the biggest things that helps us get this thing down the track.
Now this car has gone through a lot of changes from the time you first got it. Originally this car was bodied as a Mustang.
That's
and you
correct.
changed the body to an all composite Cougar, which makes it lighter, makes it a lot more streamlined. And at the same time, you've also worked on the chassis over the years too. It's just an ongoing kind of a thing, whereas almost every time you run the car, you learn something new about it, and you're able to make more power and get the power down the track. That's kind of the secret of this thing.
Well, the evolution of the car really is that we never anticipated it had the capability of running as fast as it does. So each time we step up a few notches with power, we have to go back and make a chassis change or tire change or something to go along with the extra power to get it down the track.
Well, John, obviously there's a lot of trick parts on this car. For a gasoline-powered 281 cubic inch car that's probably putting out about 2,100 plus horsepower on gasoline, you developed an intake system. You've gone through about, what, 4 or 5 different intake manifolds over time, trying to develop the exact right one. Certainly, obviously, have trick ignition system on here. And
well, this intake manifold's gone through several iterations. And currently it's the best we've come up with so far for the B heads that we're running, which essentially nobody else runs because they don't think they're any good. I guess we'll have to differ with them on that.
now, pretty much the internals on this, I mean, people really don't make parts for these cars, so you've pretty much had to hammer out everything on your own, do all your own development of internal parts. It's not like you just call up and get anything off the shelf. I mean, you've designed the pistons, have the pistons done to your specs, probably everything else too. But it's still using a stock block and a stock set of cylinder heads that you've worked on. How much time do you think you have in cylinder head work?
It takes about 120 hours to do a set of heads that are like the ones on this car. So usually when something goes wrong, I pray that it ain't the cylinder heads. The short block stuff is it's a stock block. Stock crank with a lot of modifications. I mean, everything in it's got a lot of modifications, but essentially still parts that everybody can buy. Of course, back in the day when we started on this, you couldn't buy anything. So now, there's quite a few parts available that we've developed over the years. It had 100 passes on it last year. We took it out, we freshened it up, put a couple pistons in it, and it's got about 65 passes so far this season. Seems to still be in good shape. I'm hoping it stays that way.
And you're running precision turbos?
Yes, we're running 78 millimeter precision turbos, and they seem to be working very well right now.
Yeah, so many of the outlaw guys, you know, they're so familiar with the 88s, and these are 78s, quite a bit smaller. But guys have to remember, this is a pretty small motor too.
It is. We tried a bigger set of turbos. I had Harry make us some 80s for this thing, and flat didn't like it. It wasn't a turbo problem. It's just not enough motor for that turbo. We have a set of turbos that's a perfect match for what we're doing. And the 80s that we tried was just a step too big. It wasn't happy. It would run the top end, but it wouldn't run the front half of the track. And the front half of the track is where we seem to be stellar with the guys that we race against in comparison. But they were passing us like a freight train on the top side. And now with a little bit of newfound power, they're going to have to bring a better freight train.
Jimmy, I want to thank you for stopping by today. checking us out again. You know, you're always welcome to come by. Appreciate you coming by, showing our stuff off.
Jimmy Biggs TV and said Jimmy's in the house this weekend, walking around with that camera and taking pictures. So if you see Jimmy, be sure to smile, because if you don't, he'll beat you up. Biggs TV.